a special relationship. I had kind of started to wonder if there was a practical reason for why this stuff shows up. I mean, on the one hand, it might have just been simply related to blackmail in and of itself. I mean, when you look at Profumo, there's a lot of allegations that Stephen Ward was involved in black magic, and there was very much a ceremonial aspect to some of these sex rings. But he's dealing with a lot of Tories, conservative politicians, and in this era, the 1950s, the early 60s, any hint that they were involved in any kind of occult doctrine would have been probably damaging to their political careers to begin with. But I think there's a deeper level to it, though. And I think at least part of the reason why it was put in so much was to discredit potential victims that would come forward. Because, I mean, especially in this day and age, in the aftermath of Jimmy Savile and Epstein and so on and so forth, it's really not that difficult for normies to wrap their brains around the notion that there are elite pedophile rings. They can they can meet you halfway and accept that. But when they start hearing things about men in black robes and satanic rites and all this other stuff, immediately they just assume that it's all BS, that it's just wacko fabrications and that type of thing. And I've almost started to wonder, if that was part of the reason for it. Did they start doing this stuff so in the event that the victims did come forward, they would automatically discredit themselves in the eyes of most normal people when they did start bringing up all this weird, black magic, occult, satanic stuff and what have you. And saying that, I'm not trying to suggest that there aren't people involved in this stuff that, don't take it very seriously. There certainly are. But I do kind of wonder if a lot of the laymen were just basically told, well, we're going to put the black robes on, and then if anybody comes forward to try to talk about this, they're just going to think that they're nuts,
Yeah, the same way that they would be using the UFO disclosure movement there to
Yeah.
Right.
No, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely another one you got to consider how much of the UFO stuff is also, a way to discredit this type of witnesses as well. But sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's good. But it's interesting to like Epstein and Maxwell. Obviously, there was a blackmail element to that, obviously. But they were indulging in this activity themselves for their own pleasure. And like, so what came first, the chicken or the egg? Did they, were they chosen to get into this because of their proclivities, or did they develop these proclivities after?
Well, I mean, I do kind of think, especially, since they seem to have been pretty senior level in blackmail, I mean, it probably, they were probably pedophiles to begin with who were tapped to control these kind of things. And that, I think was just because they would be more manipulative and blackmailable because they already probably had things in the control files on them. And I mean, in the case of Bob Maxwell, especially, I mean, Jesus, he had been meeting with, Soviet intelligence since at least 1955. And I'm not talking about just regular, an asset deployed in the UK. I'm talking about him flying to Russia to meet with senior, number 2, number 3 type people in the entire KGB type thing. And MI6 knew about all of this. In fact, at the time, Maxwell was having an affair with his secretary who had worked with the special operations executive during the war. And MI6 even brought her in and basically had her give her details about what Maxwell had been saying to the Soviets and what have you. So it's just, it's very strange with this kind of stuff. So Maxwell, I mean, they clearly knew that the guy, there was a lot, going on with this guy that was dirty potentially. And I kind of think that might have been one of the reasons why he was tapped in the first place, because they knew he could be destroyed easily if it needed to happen.
Yeah, there's even some speculation that Epstein was behind Maxwell's murder. But it's clear that Epstein and Maxwell inherited all of his blackmail dirt. At least that's what Hoffenberg says.
It's definitely quite possible. I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with Jeffrey Gilson too, but I mean, I know he had some. He was on your show, wasn't he?
The first interview I ever did was on my show. Yeah, the first one.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think Gilson really had a lot of great stuff on this. But Gilson essentially alleged that Maxwell had been handling the illicit arm trafficking for the Labour Party. Because, I mean, the UK was just making phenomenal amounts of money on this in the 1980s. I mean, we talk about the military-industrial complex here, but, I mean, in a lot of ways it was more pervasive in the UK. I mean, I think by the late 90s, something like 1 out of every 5 people or something like that was involved in the defense industry. So there was a lot of money being generated with this. The Tories had their own bag man, and Maxwell was the one for Labor. And of course, Gilson has been alleging that Trump was actually the guy who took over from Maxwell, especially handling the Russian accounts and what have you after Maxwell committed suicide, allegedly.
Okay, these are Gilson's latest opinions, theories?
Yeah, I believe in some of the more recent podcasts he's given. Yes.
Okay. Now, But we know, by the way, that Epstein was involved in Iran-Contra with Adnan Khashoggi.
Yeah, no, I mean
Yeah.
that's definitely another
Yeah.
connection with all this too.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, now the Black International, what is that, and how does it relate to this colony?
Well, the Black International, I mean, essentially, it kind of grew out of the SS underground that emerged in the aftermath of the Second World War. And, variously it's been called Odessa and this type of thing. I mean, I don't think that there was as much of a central organizing committee has been alleged. I think it was definitely more of a decentralized network. I mean, some money had been spirited out, but a lot of it was probably, at least in the early years, for SS men for legal issues, to help them get out of countries where they might face prosecution and what have you. But certainly as time went on, they started to become more of a formal, I mean, really, I think in a lot of ways, mercenary service. I know there was that great movie in the 70s, what was it, 3 Days of the Condor, where
Oh, yeah.
essentially they've kind of got those Nazis working as contract agents, initially for the Soviets and then later for the CIA. And kind of think that was at least partly what had kind of started to happen by the 1950s. But going into like the late 50s, early 60s, though, their ranks were really bolstered by people from France. This was, of course, the whole era with the revolt against de Gaulle and the OAS, the secret army organization. After de Gaulle had really put down that revolt, a lot of these guys started collaborating extensively with a lot of the old SS men. And then later they got a lot of the Italian neo-fascists and what have you. So by the 1970s, I mean, the Black International really was a truly international network with a lot of these, old Nazis, a lot of these Italian neo-fascists, the French, and so on and so forth. And I mean, it really had become a power in its own right. And within the colony, especially, I do think it was very much a node of this. Certainly, you have the Nazi connection and so forth with a lot of the old Nazis going there. But the big thing, I think, was really the ties to Le Cercle, in a lot of ways, Le Cercle was kind of the far right's answer to the Bilderberg Group. It originally had grown out of the Bilderberg Group in the 1950s, but it was much more Catholic oriented. A lot of the founders were all Opus Dei or Opus Dei or Knights of Malta, that type of thing. And it had eventually had forged very close ties with the Black International going into the 60s and 70s, and the colony had really close ties to Le Cercle. In fact, during the late 70s, the early 80s, when the first allegations of sexual abuse started to come out, it was actually people affiliated with the Cercle in Germany who had served as the attorneys essentially for the colony on an international level. So, yeah, and then, I mean, for those of you who have been reading my blog, I mean, Le Cercle was just at the forefront of a lot of these pedophile networks. I mean, a lot of the members had ties to Detroit in Belgium. A lot of them had ties to the pedophile rings in the UK that started to be exposed with the Jimmy Savile thing. An American partner of Le Cercle was, of course, William Casey, the CIA director we mentioned earlier, who also had a lot of ties to the Franklin scandal. So, yeah, you look at a lot of the major international pedophile rings that have been exposed, such as in Belgium and the UK, Franklin in the US, they're all tied into this mysterious, European Le Cercle network, as was the Colonia Dignidad as well. So, there's definitely that kind of element. I've often said, if you're kind of looking for a coordinated body to organize these different pedophile rings that we kind of see springing up across the world, Le Cercle would probably be the most logical choice for that.
Steve, unfortunately, we're out of time. We're out of time, man. But I'd like to maybe pick up in about a week.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be great. Encyclopedia of knowledge right off the top of your head. Stephen Snyder, better known as Recluse. His website is, his blog is visupviewblogspot.com. The book is called Strange Tales of the Parapolitical, and you can check out thefarmpodcast.com every weekend. Yeah, we're out of time, brother. Thank you so much, man. Okay.
No, Rose, and thank you so much for having me back on again, Ed.
Yeah, I wish I had a little more time to give a proper goodbye, but thank you so much, Mr. Stephen Snyder. And now a word from our sponsors. If you find yourself in need of legal representation, it can be a very stressful time in your life. In my career, I have dealt with thousands of lawyers, I've dealt with thousands of law firms, and I can confidently recommend to you Keith M. Davidson at kmdlaw.com. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com. That's kmdlaw.com. Or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. That's 833-4KMD-LAW. Personal injury, wrongful death, STDs, sexual assault, car accidents. They handle it all efficiently and professionally. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at kmdlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Go to kmdlaw.com or call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law.
Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Maybe the facility you manage could establish new revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services. Cart King International can be the answer to your needs. Cart King is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile coffee, food, and retail carts and kiosks. Cart King has been working with clients and corporations across North America for 20 years, providing innovative designs, custom manufacturing, and timely delivery. Carts and kiosks are fun, and so are the dozens of designs on our website. Please visit us today at www.cart-king.com or just call us at 1-877-986-7771 and get your sales rolling.
PureSoapFlakes.com, 218-568-2525. Have you ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils from their northern Minnesota facility. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with Pure Soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Pure Soap Flake Company products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin, safe for drains and waterways, and work great in high-efficiency washers and top and front-loading machines. They have a little promotion going on. Contact them to order some soap. Mention the Opperman Report. You're going to get a free gift. They're going to send a little extra soap, travel size, soap bars and laundry soap, cleaning soap flakes. I've been using that stuff all day long today. Great stuff. Order today at puresoapflakes.com or give them a call, 218-568-2525, 218-568-2525. Pure Soap Flake Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild.
Are you ready to change your life, but don't know how to start? Is your stress and worries keeping you awake at night? Have you been battling grief, anxiety, or depression all alone? Have you lost touch with your own sense of being or spirituality? Soul Free Therapies offers professional and affordable live video streaming counseling and coaching services from the comfort of your own home. Sessions offered in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. Go to our website at www.soul-free.com and book your first session today.
Hey, check out our brand new sponsor, Dynamic Solutions 2. That's the number 2. They offer a life-changing, dynamic financial solution. The finest in fast, professional, affordable credit repair. Is your credit in bad shape? Do you need a new car? Ready to buy a new house? You want to rent an apartment? Are you going to apply for a job? Any one of these activities, they're going to ask for a credit report and then check out your credit score. Let Dynamic Solutions 2 erase your negative credit remarks. They have affordable monthly prices. They accept Visa, MasterCard, PayPal options available. You go to www.dynamicsolutions, that's the number 2.com, or call 424-888-2820. 424-888-2820. Now, if you enter promo code ED or you mention Ed Opperman, you get a 10% discount. How's that? You get a free consultation, all negative items removed, get back in positive credit position. Dynamic Solutions 2, life-changing dynamic financial solutions. 424-888-2820. Tell them Ed Opperman sent you. You get a 10% discount.
Tina Helmuth is writing an ongoing series of fact-fiction books that boldly takes on today's most heinous crimes. Suffer the Little Children, The Wrath of the Father, and Unbreakable. Deeply researched and mixed with the supernatural, good versus evil makes these thrillers hard to put down. Available at lulu.com in paperback or ebook.